Left side, Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Enjoy this great game.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball Channel. Today we're going to be talking Atlanta Braves. They've been making a lot of big moves. Obviously picked up Matt Olson, just signed him to an 8-year extension, and the Braves also just signed Collin McHugh. So they're having a big off season. So I want to welcome the Braves expert Tyler Redmond. Has his channel Braves on Deck with Tyler Redmond. So go ahead and check that channel out. I'll put a link in the description and in the comment section. But what do you think so far this off season? Talk about the Matt Olson extension. Colin McHugh just got announced. What are your thoughts on everything? And Freddie Freeman obviously looks like he's not going to be re-signing.
Well, first off, I want to thank you, Eric, for having me. I appreciate it. When it comes to the off season, it's been pretty interesting. Obviously, most of the off season has been the past 2 weeks, so everything is in one small sample size, and we're having to dissect every little thing, and it's all happening at once. But it's really exciting. When it comes to Freddie Freeman, you know, there is not one Braves fan that I think would talk negatively of Freddie Freeman. I mean, the guy's a class act. He's been a great player in Atlanta. He'll have a great career no matter where he goes. And if he continues, you know, maybe one day he makes it to the Hall of Fame. I mean, just an absolute stud of a player. But I got to tell you, man, I love the Matt Olson deal. I really do. And if you take the emotion out of it, you know, I'm a Braves guy. You know, I'm a Braves fan. I grew up a Braves fan. If you take the fanhood out of it, this deal makes perfect sense. You know, a lot of people are going to be riled up because it's Freddie Freeman, right? But
right.
You trade 4 minor leaguers, and I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of people made a big deal about the Braves possibly overpaying for Matt Olson. I don't think so. The biggest prospect to me in that list is Shea Langoliers. And I know Pache is probably ranked above him, but Shea Langoliers is a guy that I think has got a very bright future, and frankly, is mainly because catching is a rare art, and he's one of the best in the minors right now. So he's to me is the focus of that trade. But we got Matt Olson back, and then of course today we re-sign him, you know, or we extend him for 8 years, $168 million. We're saving money comparatively to Freeman. I think it's a great deal. Honestly, I think AA, I always give Alex Anthopoulos credit. I think the guy's a genius. I think he has, I like every move he's pretty much ever done. And I'm not just saying that. I think he has a philosophy. He sticks to it. He makes moves that make sense. I mean, all you got to do to really prove that is go look at last year's trade deadline. I mean, the guy's a stud. But yeah, so far this offseason, I think it's been great. Of course, they also signed Collin McHugh today, literally 5 minutes before we started this. That was a nice surprise. I think that's just going to stabilize the bullpen. I don't know what his role will be exactly. He did well for the Rays last year, came in and even started a few games. You know, maybe he's a long reliever. We don't have a lot of those. But the Braves bullpen, I think, proved themselves a lot last year, and he will do nothing but add to that.
Yeah, that's a big signing right there, Colin McHugh. Yeah, he used to be a starter with Houston, and then he's kind of been in the bullpen lately. We had a 1.55 ERA last year with the Rays, so big pickup there. And also, you've signed Kirby Yates earlier.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
I think Kirby's either going to be your 8th or 9th inning guy. He may overtake Will Smith as the closer. I don't know how that's going to go. That's probably a conversation that they haven't even had yet. But I think he's obviously that caliber player that can do that. But when it comes to Will Smith, Will Smith's been that guy, so that'll have to be discussed. But, you know, to circle back to Colin McHugh for a second, I haven't had but 10 minutes to really think about it. You know,
right.
You go back to the starting pitching. We have a lot of question marks when it comes to the starters. Obviously, you got Max Fried coming back, Charlie Morton coming back from a broken leg, by the way. Ian Anderson is coming back, but after that, it gets kind of questionable. Mike Soroka is hopefully coming back around July, maybe August. You know, but after that, it's a competition. It's who is it going to be? Kyle Muller, Tucker Davidson are in the minors. Those guys are down there. There's competition. Touki Toussaint, and there's guys that can fill that role. But I think Colin McHugh might get a spot start, much like he did with the Tampa Bay Rays. Maybe that's why he was targeted. But I think it's an interesting pickup, and I think it's going to work well for that scenario as well.
Yeah, that's a big pickup. Yeah, I agree with you. And Yates, I guess Manny Pena picked up. So, but yeah, the biggest deal so far, definitely Matt Olson. But you also, I've heard rumors that so you got a few other free agent. Jorge Solaire is a free agent. Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson. Do you think there's a chance of re-signing any of those guys?
Jock Peterson, I think, is playing mind games with every MLB fan on Twitter. I think that's his goal. He's been retweeting rumors. I mean, the guys. I like Jock Peterson a lot. I think he brought a lot of good energy last year, obviously, and changed the clubhouse culture in a lot of ways and in a positive way. But with that said, I got a feeling he's gone. I think Jock wants to go somewhere that he can play every day. And I don't think that's in Atlanta. I just can't see it. I think they brought him in to be a utility player and to be a guy for postseason. I mean, because if you need a postseason player, there's very few that are better than Jock Peterson. And on top of that, Jorge Solaire, I like Jorge Solaire a lot. He's got one of the most memorable home runs in Major League history, much less Braves history.
Right.
So I like him a lot. I don't think he's the guy. I know I've heard the rumors. I get it. We may pick him up. But to me, the guy that if we're going to get, one of our free agents that if we're going to go get, outside of course, Freddie Freeman, would be Eddie Rosario. I mean, I think, for one, he's a lefty. We don't have a lot of lefties in the lineup. He's a guy that is a consistent bat, can be a very consistent bat. We saw it up and down the postseason, but even before that, when he was healthy, the guy can play. And not to mention, I appreciate the fact that he's not just a power hitter, right? We got a lot of those. Marcell Ozuna is borderline just a power hitter, right? Ronald Acuna, as talented, as multi-talented as he is a power hitter. And all the way down the lineup, Duvall. I mean, whoever you want to look at. But Eddie Rosario offers something that I don't think any of those guys do, and that's a guy that can come in and get a base hit when necessary. I like Eddie Rosario.
Yeah, I do too. And I was just looking at all the free agents when we were on streaming last night, and he was ranked too low, I thought, on whatever list we were looking at. I was like, I'd love to have Eddie Rosario in San Francisco because I'm a Giants fan. So no doubt about it. He is a good overall player. He gets on base. He brings you power. He got like 32 bombs in 2019. So that would be, I agree with you. That'd be an ideal guy to bring back to Atlanta if they can. And we'll just take a look now, though, at what your entire depth chart kind of looks like, starting with the rotation. If there's anyone not in there, I mean, you'll know because sometimes they don't list everyone because of injuries and stuff. Okay, so Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. What does the rotation look like?
Huascar Ynoa.
Ynoa, okay.
It's funny he's on there. Huascar had a good start last year, and then he got hurt. He broke his hand. Before that, he was actually probably our best pitcher and maybe our best hitter. I mean, the guy had like 2 homers, including a grand slam last year. Yeah. He's a guy that can perform, but I don't know where he is in terms of health, right? Is he fully back? Because we saw him come back last year. He never really got back into that form. I don't know if it was a short-lived thing or if that's going to be who he is. It's really hard to tell. He's one of those guys in that competition that I was talking about, the Tucker Davidsons, in the minors, the Kyle Mullers, Huascar Ynoa, Tuki Toussaint, and there's far more than that in the minors as well that are itching their way up. A lot of people don't know about the prospects that we got, and we're not ranked as high as we used to be. That's because a lot of those guys have come up and they're within that competition, those 5 guys that are competing. And they're guys that I think could make a shot. I mean, and you look even lower. You got Spencer Strider, who is like one of the first-round draft picks a couple years ago. There's guys in the system that can perform. We don't necessarily have to go out and get somebody. That's kind of why I like the Colin McHugh, because it doesn't go to a full starter. He can go either bullpen or starter, whatever you need, and I like that. I think that's what the Braves probably should have. In terms of the rotation, Charlie Morton is a guy I'm glad we re-signed him. He was a trooper in the World Series. I think everybody remembers that. Probably one of the most, just gangster things, for lack of a better word. Just tough-nosed veteran. And I think he does a lot for the younger guys. But the Braves have a ton of young pitchers. And a guy like Charlie Morton, I think, can help raise them in a way. Ian Anderson, I think, has a lot of upside. I think he's got a lot of good stuff. He just struggles to make it past the 4th and 5th inning. And that's what I want to see happen with him. Max Fried, he's Max Fried. I just hope we have another Max Fried year this year.
All right, so Roka's going to be back. So, yeah, the rotation is going to look pretty strong, man. And you add that extra arm that potentially could, with McHugh, could start some games as well. So that's a pretty strong rotation. Obviously, it's one of the better rotations in teams. I mean, you guys won the World Series last year. And let's jump to the potential lineup. There could probably not perfect here. You can correct any mistakes here because obviously there's still some offseason left. But right now, looks like this possibly with Albies, Olson, Riley, Osuna, Duvall, Swanson, Darno, Waters, Heredia.
Yeah, that might be your opening day. I've heard the rumor of Waters possibly coming up. I don't think you see Waters and Heredia there. If with the DH, everything kind of gets thrown out the window. Right. I would like to see a free agent in the outfield. I don't want Guillermo Andrew Waters. I'll take one. I don't want both.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you also got to remember Acuna's coming back. He's going to fill one of those spots. So for the time being, let's just say there's 2 weeks that we don't have Ronald Acuna because he thinks he's going to be ready opening day. The Braves haven't quite said that, but Ronald Acuna has said that he's going to be ready opening day. I don't know that that's going to be the case. But if there's a short time without Ronald Acuna, Guillermo Heredia can fill that. But I think obviously the moment he's back, Guillermo is going to be on the bench. I don't think Drew Waters is going to be up very long. I don't think you're going to see him go to the bench. I think he's going to be up long enough to get some major league at-bats, and then the moment he's not playing every day, he's going back to the minors to get those everyday at-bats. Right. Because I think they think very highly of him, whether or not they want to use him in the future or keep his value up for a potential trade piece, whatever the situation may be. In terms of the order, I could see Ozzie number one on opening day, but if Acuna is there, he's going to claim that spot. That's his spot. He likes it. Olson, I think, would probably be number three. Oh, no, I like that. Ozzie might be further down. He might be in your 8 hole, honestly. He might even be in your 9 hole now that there's no pitcher spot.
No pitcher.
He might be further down. You might switch him and Drew Waters and then make Drew Waters Acuna. If I had to make a change, that'd probably be what I would do.
Pretty legit lineup. And, yeah, if you bring back Rosario, we were talking about earlier, and I think they will. They're going to make a move, I think. I don't think this will be the opening day lineup. I just want to get these previews going. And right now the Braves have made some big moves, so I think it's a good time to do it. But so we've talked about the rotation, talked about the possible lineup. Also, what about this bullpen here? You have obviously Will Smith coming back, Luke Jackson, Tyler Matzik, AJ Minter, Jacob Webb, Dylan Lee, Spencer Strider. You mentioned.
I think Spencer Strider is going to be obviously replaced with Colin McHugh there, or maybe Dylan Lee. We may even go get another one. Is Kirby Yates on there? No, Kirby Yates.
No, I haven't shown him yet.
So you'll replace Dylan Lee and Spencer Strider with Kirby Yates and Colin McHugh. But I think it's a pretty potent bullpen too. I mean, Will Smith, he's had his ups and downs over the years. Braves country gets really irritated with him quickly.
Oh yeah.
But he proved himself last postseason. Did not give up one run in the 9th inning the entire postseason. I think he's a guy that, whether he's pitching the 8th or 9th this year, he's a guy that we can count on. Luke Jackson has come a very long way from when he first started. He's finally found himself. He had a little trouble with the Dodgers in the NLCS, but again, this is the Dodgers in the NLCS, so we can forgive him there. Tyler Matzik became a postseason folk hero last year after striking out the Dodgers in 1-2-3 with runners on second and third. That was a great moment. These guys, I think the World Series, if nothing else, the postseason last year, proved to the bullpen that they can do it, that they can be a legitimate force of a bullpen, and I think they're going to be.
But is there anyone else hurt, injured that I'm forgetting that might make an impact?
Not on the bullpen side of things. No. Not on the bullpen side of things. In terms of prospects, I mean, depending on if somebody was to get hurt, if there was a spot. Jacob Webb, I see him on there. I kind of skipped over him. He's been up and down a lot, to tell you the truth. He may make an impact, but he had a really good 2020. And then 2021 came, and it was completely different. I mean, he struggled. He was the one that hit, can't think of his name, but he hit the guy on the Mets in the face, if you remember that. That was him. Okay. And I think it just rocked him. He wasn't quite the same there for a while. And then 2022, he did okay. He might be back on that upward trend, but he might go down. You may see Spencer Strider take over that spot in that case.
Right.
But there's a lot of moving pieces, obviously, for any team, especially the Braves right now, especially the bullpen. But everybody's fighting to get in there, man. Everybody in the minor leagues for the Braves is fighting to get in there.
Overall, this team is going to still be a very good team. Obviously, the other teams are trying to improve in the East as well. And I'm just looking here at your top prospects. I see Drew Waters, number 1. Michael Harris, say he's a little bit lower in the minors. Kyle Muller. Did we talk about him yet?
I met Kyle Muller. I purposely
really?
went and watched him pitch in Gwinnett right before he got called up. I think I was there. He got called up last year, had a couple starts, did okay, showed some good things. I like him because of his. This is going to sound strange when I say it, but he's got this attitude about him that he's not fearful. I think a lot of times, especially on the Braves, we pull up guys that seem like just young kids that are happy to be there in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's what it is. And Kyle Muller came in, and it was like a grown man, lack of a better word, pitching. And I like that about him. His nickname is the Mulldozer. And
awesome.
Yeah, I just think I think he's got a lot of upside. I think he could be a fundamental part of the rotation in a few years. Once Charlie Morton moves on. And even he could fill that 5th spot potentially once he proves himself to be over. Tucker Davidson's another one, right there in that same list. I believe he's right under. Yeah, so him and Tucker are right there together. I consider them as equals. Tucker pitched. He started a World Series game this year. Like people. He didn't do that well, but people forget that. I mean, that's how much trust the Braves have in it. So I think those guys are on the way up, and I think they're going to make an impact sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but at least you have some good-looking prospects here in the top 10 that could come in if needed, if injuries happen. But overall, it's a pretty well-rounded team, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to bring up the standings from last. You guys won the division last year, right?
We sure did.
Right. 88 and 73.
By the skin of our teeth, we won it.
Yeah, it was a crazy year with 8-2 in the last 10 to finish out the year. And I did pick the Braves. I don't know if you know this. I picked the Braves to win the World Series preseason last year, and actually got it. So I was pretty happy about that. I put some money on them, and they came through for me. So I didn't think everyone thought they were done after the injuries and
I thought they were done.
And it looked bad. But come back, win the World Series, and what are you thinking? Just to finish it off. I know you're Braves fans. You're probably predicting them to win the division again. But any thoughts on who's going to give you the most trouble this year?
I think the Mets are the obvious choice. I'm not really concerned with the Phillies. I think the Phillies are going to be similar to what they've been. The Nationals, they just signed Nelson Cruz, but they had a fire sale last year. I'm not really worried about them. The Marlins. We all know what's going on with Derek Jeter. I don't think they're a threat just yet. They may be in a few years once their prospects come along, but not right now. If I had to predict, I'm going with the Braves just because they've won it now. Is it 3 or 4 years in a row they've won it? But the Mets are the biggest threat. Picking up Max Scherzer is obviously a big deal. I think getting Buck Showalter is, and giving him a budget, which he hasn't had before in any other team, that's a big deal. But any rotation with Scherzer and DeGrom's going to give you trouble. But again, I'm probably going with the Braves there. I just think, the way the Mets tanked last year.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
I can't with a good, conscience say that I'm overly worried about it. I wasn't overly worried about it halfway through the year. And to be honest with you, I know we talked about that 88 record, the 88 win record. That team that won the World Series was not an 88 win team.
Right.
What I mean by that, yes, they had 88 wins. That's not where you should. I said it before we got to the postseason. This team is way better than that because of all the upgrades at the trade deadline. We're gonna have a radically different looking team this year, but we have superstars coming back. We're not downgrading. We got Ronald Acuna coming back, Mike Soroka coming back, Marcell Ozuna coming back. Guys that we should have had last year that we just didn't. So all those guys are coming back, and we got a better bullpen than we had at the start of last year. We don't have pitchers don't have to hit, so Ozuna doesn't have to field.
All right.
So right, so things are working in the Braves' favor in a lot of ways to be the team that they were raised to be. Because last year, look, I'm glad we won the World Series, but it was, not to say it's a miracle year, but it wasn't supposed to happen that way.
No.
Right? and not that it ever is, but it wasn't supposed to happen in a lot of ways. They stole one, and I'll gladly take it, but I'd like to see this team, the Braves team that we're all familiar with, with the exception of the potential loss of Freddie Freeman, because I know we can all pretty much say Freddie Freeman's gone at this point, but it's still not done yet, which I find interesting. I think the Braves are probably out on that, obviously after the big extension for OLSON. But, this is the familiar faces, the kids that came up with the Braves. Ronald Acuna. I think it's weird to say that the Braves won a World Series without Ronald Acuna and Mike Soroka. I think that's weird. Hopefully, we can make another postseason run with those guys. But it's going to look different, but it's going to be a good team.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if the Mets are the only team you got to worry about, I think that's a good thing, because the Mets are known to fall apart. And, last year it happened, so it could happen again. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing all your expertise on the Braves. And I want everyone to go check out your channel. If you haven't already, check out Tyler Redmond's channel. I'll link it in the description. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
All right, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you again, everybody. Good luck to the Braves this year in 2022. I think that they're going to do great, and we'll talk to y'all next time. Put your thoughts down in the comment section. See ya.
And that one is hit deep to right field, and that baby is gone. There's your 2-run homer, Dallas.